Everyone, welcome to the podcast today. Today, we're talking about how to convince yourself that you can lose weight because you can do it, but you probably feel like you can't. And so, you have to believe it, right? If you don't believe that you're going to lose weight, you're never going to really give your full effort, right? I always like, if I say go outside and try and flap your arms and fly, how hard you going to try, right? Because you don't believe it can happen. So a lot of people are walking around with their weight loss thinking, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. I can't stick with it. I can't do it. And so how do you convince yourself that you can do it? Because that changes the entire game completely right from the beginning. So you've got to get good at this because I know right now that deep down you don't believe you can do it. And if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, this belief just gets stronger and stronger because more and more time goes by where you haven't done it. So how do you do it? So the first step is you have to reframe the entire process. The truth is you probably can't just lose weight. Okay. Because weight loss is a short term thing. Weight loss you do with dieting, restricting your food for a little while, working out really hard, doing really extreme things for a short amount of time, just because you want to lose some weight. So if you're going to continue thinking that way, like all you want to do is lose some weight, then you're probably going to continue to have to use those strategies and you're probably going to continue to fail and you probably don't believe you can do it because you probably can't. Okay. But what can you do? Well, I believe you can master your weight, right? And what that means is that you can get back down to your goal weight and live the rest of your life there on near autopilot. That's a different goal. They may sound similar, but they're not. The difference is the time frame that we're thinking in. And so if all you want to do is just lose the weight, I just want to lose the weight, I don't care what I got to do, I just got to lose the weight. You're thinking in a short-term time frame. And as soon as you think in that short-term time frame, you're susceptible to all the extreme plans that are too hard to maintain. Those are what you've been doing. And you now know, you have experience, you have proof, validation that you can't do it long term. Okay. So as soon as you let go of that, you open yourself up to being able to walk on the path of weight mastery, where you can build up the skills necessary to get to your goal weight first and then live the rest of your life there near autopilot. So it's a completely different path, even though they may sound the same, at first. They're completely different because one's about how fast can I lose the weight, and the other one's about how long can I lose the weight. And again, I know you want to lose the weight forever. So the second one's a much better goal. So how do you do that? How do you convince yourself still, right? So again, it first starts by putting yourself on a different path and giving yourself more time, because it's my belief that the main reason you haven't been able to lose weight is that you're trying to do too much too quick and you're overwhelming yourself. And so you're able to do it for a little while, and then you end up reverting back to your old behaviors and habits and weight. And so what I suggest is you give yourself more time and start off slower. And I know for a fact that if you start off slow, you can develop the skill sets, the abilities, the strengths, the skills that you need to master your weight. But you're going to take a little bit at a time. And so let me just do this. I like to make the parallel here to learning the piano. If I said, okay, learn the piano in a month, well, you don't believe you can do that, right? It's too hard. And you'd have to practice 8 hours a day. And then after the first day, your fingers are cramped up. You can't continue practicing. So if I said, learn the piano over the next year, well, that seems a little bit more believable, right? I think I could do that. It's the same thing with your weight. So if we start off with a slower approach, then you can start to be more strategic. And now you're in the realm of everything in your life that you've learned and mastered, you have learned kind of slowly and strategically. And so now this instantly starts to feel better because now you have a wealth of experience, of proof, of validation that you can learn things when you take it step by step. What's the saying? Yard by yard, everything's hard. Inch by inch, everything's a cinch, And so that becomes the approach. So I know what's the main thing stopping us from taking this path? Well, it's patience. We've been so conditioned to associate with weight loss, just fast results, and so to all of a sudden sprinkle some patience onto this process feels very weird, but again, if you look at your life, anything that you've gotten good at, anything you gain mastery over, it absolutely has been something that you've developed over time. So if you take a step back and say, okay, I want to master my weight and I will take it slowly, I'll build up the skills. I will transform myself from the inside out into a thin person, changing how I think, how I live, how I feel, how I behave and eat. And I will become a thin person. Well, now it's not this all or nothing mentality. Now you leave room to make mistakes and to learn from them and grow, which is probably how you've learned everything in your life, right? Think about when you learned how to write. You didn't just start out writing perfectly. You started writing, making mistakes, and you learned from those mistakes, and you grew and you evolved and you got better, and now you can write flawlessly. And so it's the same thing with the weight loss, where you start to take it slow and you start to strategically approach the things that are affecting your weight. So what are those things? Well, obviously you're eating, but instead of trying to change your meal plan and eat completely different starting tomorrow, you can start by focusing on your worst eating habit, right? Your worst eating habit. What is it? Eating at night. Okay, let me spend a month, 2 months, 6 months really working on this habit, replacing it, removing it, reducing it so that I get mastery over it. Simultaneously, I'll work on what would be the most helpful habit for me to have in my life. Maybe it's drinking water, sleeping better, relaxing, moving more, meditating. I'm going to work on implementing that. And you work on those two things for a couple months and you get good at them. So it becomes easy and natural and automatic for you to do them. And then you build on those. And now all of a sudden it feels like I can do this because you can do it. The problem has been that you've been doing the wrong method. You've been using the wrong method. And that's why you haven't been able to lose weight. So I hope this helps to start convincing you that you can do it. And I want you to start recognizing that you probably have not believed that you can lose weight. And if you haven't believed that it's possible, then there's almost no chance of success because it is a path regardless. Either way, it takes work, effort, persistence to do it. And if you don't believe it, you're never going to stick with it. So take a step back from the process. And before you even begin to at least get a glimmer of hope, start to realize that you can do this. You need to have that feeling. And if you don't have it, keep working on it until you do by reframing the way that you're approaching this. And you may have to reduce to the ridiculous and kind of start down with simple things, and start to build up some confidence with simple things and build on that. But if you start even with simple things, at least you'll notice that deep within you, there is a belief that you can do this. All right. So make sure that you have that belief before you start any real program, because otherwise it's just going to be a waste of your time. All right. So I hope this all helps you out. If you all have any questions, feel free to ask them. All right. M Sparkle, how you doing? I got to see some questions here. Hi, can you make an ebook or subscription-based things? I know you're with it. You're amazing. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. No way I can afford $2,000 right now. I get that. I understand that. Understand, I will say this, and I don't know if you know this, but there's a way to get a 50% discount on that program. If you go to my bio, there's a link to get a hypnosis session. And after you sign up for that, there's a training I give you, which is 3 steps to master your weight. It's about a half hour. If you watch that, you can, I give you a discount on the program, 50% off. So I would definitely suggest that. Am I working on an ebook? I am. I am working on a book right now. And I've had lower price programs in the past as well. But right now I like this model because it's a great program and I get to work with everyone in it. And at this point, I find me being able to work with people is really important, and so I'm always working on creating that magic program that just works without me needing to interact with a person. I'm not there yet, so in this program, again, yeah, it is more than, other things that you may do to try and lose weight. But what you are getting is direct access to me where I can work with you. So, but you can do that to get that. You're worth it. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Should I just watch your lives and YouTubes, or are they just clues and not actual steps to the real program? That's a good question. That's fair. I would say, technically I'm saying everything. I mean, the program is more concentrated. So what the program is, it's an 8-week program and it's delivered through your phone. So as soon as you start, like the hardest part of weight loss, the hardest part of change in general is remembering to do it. It's new, and so we're again, the whole point of the program is we have a conscious and subconscious mind. We're subconscious creatures, so we live our lives on autopilot. And so we want to change our behaviors. The hardest part is really interface with that subconscious mind, changing up the automatic behaviors we have. So my program, it's delivered, through an app on your phone exactly for this reason, because your phone's part of your life. So I kind of the program weaves itself right into your daily life right away. And so you start the program in the morning, you wake up, there's a message from me, and you click on that link and you go and listen to your hypnosis session in the morning. It's a 5-minute hypnosis session. And for 8 weeks, you get a new one each day. And so this starts to program your mind, your subconscious mind, to start thinking like a thin person. Then at night you get, this is something I'm adding this week here. Then at night you get another reminder, and it's to do the program yourself then technique. So this is a technique I teach you. It's a 1 to 2 minute technique, and you program your own subconscious mind. This is the core of the program. Then there's a hypnosis session at night that you listen to as well with a core weight loss mantra in it. So that's what the program is. I mean, there's also other things. There's the blueprints that you work through and all that. Informationally, I share everything. I give everything to you. I can't do the program, without me working with it. Because if I try and teach you the technique, because I've done this before, if I could just tell you the technique, but it's like, it's really simple, but it's like people just consistently do it wrong, just to be honest. And so it's important for me to kind of be there to kind of correct them, and so that's why right now I only sell it with the coaching, but yeah, if you keep, I get people all the time, they're watching lives, TikToks, all the rest of it. You have to watch a lot more of it, I think, you know what I mean? Because it's not set up for that. And there's a lack of commitment. The commitment piece is kind of a big piece as well. That's why I charge a bit more. But you're getting a lot of the same information. So if you listen to the podcast, the YouTubes, the TikToks, all that stuff, it'll affect you, absolutely help you, no doubt about it. Yeah, your explanations have resonated with me the most, but I feel bad. What? Stepping into your lives, not your program. I think in a year I could, though. No, don't feel bad. You get on here. That's why I do these. I'm happy to work with you. And by the way, something I do, I haven't done it recently too much, but another thing I do sometimes, shoot me a message if you want to do it, is sometimes I'll do like coaching calls with people completely free. But you have to let me, you'll sign like a waiver and say I can use it, because I'll make a podcast out of it and stuff, and I'll use the video. But if you're that type of person, you know what I mean? Like it's really good. I've got some on my YouTube channel right now. I just remember last night I got one that I haven't put up yet, but it's really interesting to watch, and you should watch them anyways. Because, I'm talking this stuff, which I think, it's good stuff, I think, right? But I think it's even more useful when you watch it in context of like a regular person who's dealing with regular weight loss stuff. I think that makes it's more meaningful. So I definitely suggest watching those. And don't feel bad about getting these lives. Ask all the questions you want. I'll handle that. If you ask too many questions, I'll let you know. But you're not doing that. I'm doing this to help you out. Again, my business model is kind of the Robin Hood model. You know what I mean? Like where I have, people invest a decent amount of money to work with me, and then I'm able to give everything away for free as well. Now again, it's not the program giving away for free, because for certain reasons, but I give all the information. I'm telling you all the stuff you need to know. And you got to keep on listening to it for it to make work. You inspire me so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that it's helping you. Hi, any tips for binge eating, unlocking the reason why? Okay, Helen, I appreciate that question. Put my heater on here. Yeah, binge eating. There's two big ones. And again, I don't know if I was talking to you specifically. If we were talking specifically, I'd have a lot more detail, but I'll tell you kind of the boilerplate answers I give out to people. Binge eating usually is kind of caused by one of two things. The first one, the biggest one, is you're really hungry. Usually when people want to lose weight, they restrict their calories, and they get so hungry that they get to the point where they can't control their eating, and then they binge. The other one is usually emotional. And so they don't know how to handle their emotions in a genuine way. And so they turn to the food and use that food as a distraction or just something to feel better for a minute, and they binge on that, So those are the two big whys I see. But I will tell you this, my people in my program always hear me say this, but is that you want to, don't worry about the why questions. A lot of times people get so obsessed with the why questions, and they're always trying to figure out what's wrong. Again, that's like 100% of the people in my program. We're all overthinkers. I'm myself included. We're all overthinkers, just constantly thinking. Problem is that when we ask why, what's wrong with me? How come I binge eat? Why do I keep doing that? Why don't I do the right thing? I know what to do. Why do I keep screwing up? When we keep asking questions like that, it's literally hypnosis to keep reinforcing what we're doing, because everything's built around the problem. We just keep imagining us doing the wrong stuff, and we keep doing the wrong stuff. And even though you're consciously saying, well, why am I doing that? I'm trying to figure it out. You think there's like some cognitive breakthrough. It's right on the other side of those questions. And there's not. It's what it is. It's you imagining yourself doing all the wrong shit. Program that stuff in your subconscious mind. So, that's a big part. So I'd stop asking why questions, because they're addictive. And I know it's hard to not do it. And you've been doing it for so long, you just do it easily. You know what I mean? Just keep circling around why questions. But start asking how questions. How can I eat? How can I stay more in control? How can I eat in a healthier way? How can I have, more control over how I'm eating, eat more moderately? And when you start asking questions like that, it brings you in a much better direction, because those questions, again, now the images you're making in your mind, what you're imagining is much more about the solution, how you want to be. And that changes you. It changes the way you behave, think, feel, all those things. And says, well, maybe I could do half of that. Have you thought of being, yeah, I can do half of that though. You should have. I mean, it's the best. It's the best weight mastery program out there. There's just it's the most comprehensive program you'll ever see. There's no question about it. And it's about you figuring yourself out. It's you creating your own plans. So I definitely suggest it. Have you thought of being a therapist, or do you consider yourself more of a life coach, holistic? It's funny you say that, because I have a person in the program, because I always say, oh, I'm a hypnotist. But she's like, you're really a hypnotherapist. And I would say that's definitely a better description. So I guess I do. I don't really like therapists, just the traditional things. So a lot of it's so much about analyzing and figuring out where the problems came from. And so I've always been more about like forward momentum. I don't want to rehash the past. I want to find out what the problem is and then find solutions to it so you can move forward. And so using hypnosis is a powerful modality to make that happen. But yeah, I'm a certified hypnotherapist, neurolinguistic programming trainer, strategic coach, yoga instructor. So really it's kind of all of those things kind of melded together. And to be honest, I've had to create this myself, because where do you learn the weight mastery mindset from? No one's doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I've been on my own path for 30 years, and professionally I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've done over 5,000 private weight loss sessions. So it's just, I read 50 books a year. I'm obsessed with this stuff, but I've had to kind of create my own lane of how to do this, because no one's out there doing it. I haven't seen a lot of people or, systems for how, listen, there's lots of weight loss stuff, but it's always telling you what to do. That's the easy part. You already know enough what you should do. You know what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat to lose most of the weight. The problem is you can't get yourself to do it. And so that's where I've been, for my whole career, is how do you get yourself motivated? How do you change how you feel? How do you influence your behaviors in a real way? How do you program your subconscious mind ultimately to do the things that are going to keep you at your goal weight and give you the quality of life you want? These are the questions I'm obsessed with. And so I approach this from a completely different angle, but, yeah, it's a bit of coaching, but it's hypnotherapy for sure. So it is kind of a melting pot of all those things, I would say. But that's a good question. Yeah. Thank you for taking time out for this live. What's a quick tip for stopping late night snacking? Yeah, that's a great question. And that was my first biggest challenge, is the nighttime eating. First thing I would say, and I always like to reinforce this, is that there's no one tip solution thing like that. We got to get that idea out of our minds. This is like, again, how long do you want to keep the weight off for? Right. I know you're saying forever. And so this is a forever process. It's a forever marathon. And I don't want that to scare you. It's just like brushing your teeth. What point you stop brushing your teeth? You're not. You're to keep doing it. And so mastering your weight's kind of a similar thing. So that being said, the reason I frame it that way is that what I'd rather do with the late night snacking is I could give you some ideas, and I will, but I want you to get curious about the late night snacking, start to understand it. How's it happening? And start to go to work on finding solutions to it. That's the key thing. That's the whole thing my program is built around, is this redo rehearsal technique that I teach people. And the biggest part of it is, again, with a diet mindset, you think you're going to start Monday being perfect and just ride that perfection out to your goal weight. In my program, we're starting off, there is no like meal plan you're trying to be perfect. You're starting off with where you're starting off, with all your overeating and your binge eating and your wrong mistakes and all your bad habits and all that shit. And we're starting there, and then we're fixing them, kind of one at a time, but we're doing it strategically in an intelligent way. So late night snacking is one of the most common ones, right? So there's a bunch of ways. I'll share what I did, so I knew, first off, is I saw it as one thing. It was one habit, and that's what I attacked for months. I'm going to get good at this. I'm like, if I could stop late night snacking, and so that's the first thing I'd suggest to you, is reframe how you call it, right? So you're calling it late night snacking, which almost sounds kind of down homesy and folksy and fun, right? I'd start to say, like, let me ask you this. If you didn't snack at night for the next year, let's just say it just disappeared from your life magically, what do you think would happen to your weight? If that's the only thing that happened, what do you think would happen to your weight? Now, I'm just going to fill out a number. You can answer that if you'd like to. Let's just say it's 25 pounds. We'll just arbitrarily pick a number. But then I would go to, that's the first thing I would do. I want to reframe that. Late night snacking is not really a good description of what it actually is, So I would start to say that that's my 25-pound habit. This is what I did. And I would say, okay, I want to go to work on my 25-pound habit of snacking at night. And then I'd frame it as this is important. If I can reduce this one habit, I'm probably half the way to my goal weight. That's how important it is. And so I'm going to work at it. I know I'm just going to like, oh, I'm going to start Monday night, not snack anymore at night. That's bullshit. That's dumb thinking. Stop that. That's diet thinking. It's dumb. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to work on not snacking at night anymore. How do I do that? So when I did it, I started to eat more dinner at first. Okay. So I wasn't hungry at night, as hungry. And that made it easier. And you say, yeah, but Jimmy, you're not going to lose weight that way. I don't give a shit because I'm trying to think strategically. So the first step for me was I just want to not eat at night. That was the first step. What's it like to go through from dinner to sleep of not eating? And I didn't know what that even felt like. So that was my first step. So if I ate more, I don't care. I took it in phases. Once I got used to that, then I do other strategies and whatever. And long story short, it was consistently working and understanding what worked, what didn't work until I finally figured out and kind of implemented a new way, of not snacking at night. And obviously using the programming stuff made it go a lot quicker. It was a lot more helpful. But that's, again, I don't want to just give you a technique because it may or may not work for you, but I want you to more understand is the mindset, the approach to it, reframing it and realizing it's probably a 20, 30 pound habit for you and really going to work on it, and consistent, you'll be good with it. Sometimes you'll be bad with it, and realizing keep moving yourself to the point where you no longer snack at night. That's the attitude as opposed to just like something where you're just not going to have it. Hope that makes sense. Oh, amazing. Yes. An unprecedented system. It really is. You're in Colorado. No, I'm in Massachusetts. There's Vicky. There she is. I'm glad you're taking my definition on board. I am, Vicky. You convinced me. You're a persuasive person anyways. You know that, right? Hypnosis overnight, or do you think you should be conscious absorbing it fully? No, it's in my program, it's both. I mean, you have your morning one you listen to within a half hour waking up, and that starts your day off, relaxed and with the right stuff in your head. And then the nighttime one, it's a sleepnosis one. And so there's two versions of it. One of them has a count out if you want to listen to it like 7:00 at night and then go around about your night. The other one is the one you listen to as you go to sleep. Yeah, you're right though. Yeah, if you're out cold to sleep, and then I put some hypnosis on, it's not going to do anything. However, if you listen to that hypnosis session and then fall asleep, that's not a bad thing because when you go to sleep, you pass through a hypnagogic state. And so you go from being your waking mind to your dream mind. And when you're getting positive suggestions and you pass through, because you feel when you feel like you're falling asleep, but you're just laying there, but it feels like you're falling. That's you going from your waking mind to your dream mind. And so I'm a big believer and fan that when you're getting hypnotic suggestions during that time, they're more impactful and you might have dreams about it and it just has more impact on you. And so, yeah, listening to it at night and waking up in the morning, do it. It kind of bookends your day with the hypnosis, and then you add the redo rehearsal technique in there as well. And you are consistently programming your subconscious mind in a way that's customly designed to you. So yeah, really helpful. So I could possibly find a 50% off for an 8-week program. Yeah. Listen, just shoot me a message and I'll send you a direct link, but yeah, it's for the 8-week program. And anyone else, you can get a 50% off of the program. I always call it, because listen, when it comes to weight loss, action is rewarded. That's like one of the core things I instill in people, because weight loss, you're not spontaneously going to lose 20 pounds. I'm like, oh, this is nice, I'm going to keep going. You got to make the decision first, take action, and then you get the reward. And so my program, like to get it 50% off, usually go watch the training, but you're here. I've seen you before. So you're always taking action on these lives and doing stuff. So shoot me a message. Anyone else, if you want to get the 50% off link, shoot me a message. You can directly message me through TikTok, or email me, jim@programyourself.then, or my email link in the bio as well. Helen says, wow. I wanted to read what that was. Wow, the 25-pound habit. I will be changing my language to this so I understand the consequences. Yeah, exactly, right? That's part of the mindset. Listen, everything's mindset. Your mindset's the main thing controlling your weight. More important than your genetics, your hormones, your metabolic disorder, your diabetes, anything, your Hashimoto's, all of it. Your mindset's the most important thing. And that's just an example of it, right? Because, I snack at night. I kind of do a little snacking habit at night, right? We're minimizing, right? Subconsciously, we're minimizing the effect of that. When we call it a 25-pound habit, now we're not even maximizing. We're just seeing it accurately for what it is, right? And so that's one little mindset trick you can do. And my program's a million of them, and they're condensed, so we change things quick. But that's part of it. You get a feel of that. I've snacked just now, and I don't have calories left for the day, nor am I hungry, but I already unfroze my pizza for the night. Yep. It's interesting. I mean, again, I don't mean to laugh at that, but that it's funny because we're not logical creatures. You know what I mean? And so, that's a situation where, you're not hungry, so what are you going to do? I'm curious to know what you're going to do here. I've never heard anyone frame it like that before. Yeah, it might be the first one. Listen, I got a bunch of stuff. It's funny. I just read through. I'm not sitting here, toot my own horn here, but I say it to you just to realize, like what I'm doing is really unique. And it's always. I've been doing this for 30 years personally, and it's my own path. I mean, listen, I learn from everyone. Again, I followed Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do model. I take what works, discard what doesn't. And I've been doing that for 30 years. And so I read neuroscience, yoga stuff, nutrition, all psychology up and down, all of it. And coaching, all of this stuff, linguistics. And I'm always looking for what actually helps people. There's no question my program is without question the most practical approach, because I'm just working with real people. That's my classroom. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I find like what actually helps people. Because listen, 99% of the weight loss solutions out there, there's people telling you what to do. Right? It's constantly, well, here, don't eat carbs, do this, eat this, work out this way, do this, do this. It's always telling you what to do. That is not your problem. The problem is you can't get yourself to do it. You have no skill set, no ability to influence how you think or feel or behave. Right? You know as little about how to actually lose weight now as you did before you started your first diet. You have a bunch of vague ideas about what you should do, but you have almost no idea of how to get yourself to consistently do the things that are going to keep you thin. Right? And so I've been working like in the field, like with actual people, when they feel depressed, when they're not motivated, after they've binged and eaten a bunch of shitty food and feel like shit, that I'm right there, with them. And so everything I'm doing is like field tested, practical strategies to move you from this point to this point consistently, because that's what you got to do. Again, this diet idea is that you're going to start Monday and just be perfect till you get to your goal. It's so fucking crazy. It's 100% not going to happen. You're never going to do that. You're never going to be perfect. Never. It's not even an option. You can be perfect for a week or a month, maybe, but we're talking about how long to keep the weight off for forever, right? So you're never going to be perfect for a year, and you're not set up for that. You're all or nothing. So everything I do is very, very practical. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, a bunch of my stuff is like things people never heard. And froze my dinner pizza, so I'm going to eat it. Yeah, right. So I guess it's not a lot. It's 150 grams, but still. Yeah, but again, it is reinforcing the idea that you're eating mentally, right? Your body's sending you a signal we're not even hungry, and you're going to override that and eat the pizza because it's there, and I get it, right? Because but understand, seeing that pizza there and then wasting it, if you can't refreeze it or you can't save it till tomorrow, that's affecting our biology, right? Because biologically we hate wasting food, right? So that's a real thing. That's like the finish your plate club. A lot of people dealing with that. You go to a restaurant, you want to be done, but they take the doggy bag, but I just want to leave it. There's biological hardwiring that makes us not want to waste food. So I'm not joking when I say like that's a real issue. But what I am saying also is that you're overriding your body's natural signal. Say, we're satisfied, and you're going to override that mentally because you're saying, I don't want to waste food though, so we're going to eat it. So just be careful of that. Does your program implement Neville Goddard techniques of law of assumption and hypnosis? I'll tell you what, Neville Goddard is someone I have not studied. And I want to, and I probably need to, because people a lot of times will say things I'm saying are similar to what he's saying. Some of my videos, it makes like hypnosis techniques or different trainings I do. So I know there's some aspects to it there, I'm going to guess, because I've heard that before, and I'm not familiar with his work. That's one person I have not really looked into, but I will. Joe Dispenza is another one. I hear a lot of, because I've just started seeing a little bit of his stuff, and I love it. And there's definitely some correlations there. I think sometimes I think I avoid certain people because I don't want to say what they're saying and copy them. But I don't care either. I'll just say whatever I learn, I'll use. That's what I was going to say. That I just read The Willpower Instinct, which was such a great book. But this lady, she's like a Stanford. Oh, thanks for the rose. She's like a Stanford PhD, just brilliant. But then the book, it's all the stuff that I'm teaching in my program, she's like, she frames it a little bit differently, but it's all the same stuff. That makes me feel good. It makes me feel validated. But I don't mind. I'm going to integrate a lot of what she said right into the program because she clarifies some things, but I'll look up Neville Goddard. Yeah, I definitely think that some of the things in the program are definitely in line with what he says based on what people have told me. I've been fasting, and to be honest, it's not really helping that much. I do better eating unprocessed. Yeah, Tracy. So stop fasting. I know, right? Like in my program, right? Everything's about like there's three pillars of weight mastery: mindset, lifestyle, eating. And it's in that order, and it's a pyramid shape. Mindset on the bottom, the biggest, most important piece, then lifestyle, and then eating. And what most people do when they approach their weight loss is they just focus on the eating piece. And there's no foundation under it. It's like building a house on quicksand. So, listen, the fasting, I know people want to do it, and strategically it makes a lot of sense. But the reality, what I've seen, I literally just helped someone in my program with this because they were intermittent fasting. They didn't start eating till noon. But by the time they started eating, they were fucking starving. They couldn't stop themselves from eating the wrong foods. You know what I mean? So we have to look at things holistically. We can't just look at it and say, oh, I'm not eating for 16 hours, so I'm going to lose weight. Well, what do you do in the 8 hours you are eating? If you trigger, for me, because I played with fasting. Now, again, I'm saying this as somebody who's I intermittent fast, but I backed myself into it I wasn't intermittent fasting when I did it. What I did is I wanted to stop eating at night. That was my big habit that I wanted to change. And that was my 40-pound habit. That's what I believed it was. And so I really went to work on that. And so long story short, eventually I got to the point where I stopped eating at night. I finished dinner 6-7 o'clock, and I wouldn't eat till 8 o'clock the next morning. And so, hey, next thing you know, 20 years later, we call it intermittent fasting. But I backed into it with a different set of motivations. I see a lot of people now, and I like intermittent fasting. Like I feel great doing it. I love giving my body a rest. But I've also done like master cleanse fasting. And when I did that, I would do it for a day or two. It would be really hard for me. And then once I started eating it, I was obsessed with food. I was hungry all the time. I had a hard time not eating too much. So we have to look at the holistic effect of what our decisions are and our behaviors are and customize them to who we are. So I like hearing what you're saying. And I made a program actually. I don't sell it right now, but it was called the 2-day detox diet. And what it was is because, most people, when they want to detox, they're just not eating. And so I said, what if someone took 2 days to detox just by eating unprocessed foods? So that's what the whole program is just eating really natural, healthy stuff for 2 days, right? What a concept. And so that's where I went to. So I never fast anymore. Well, I guess if you want to call it fasting, that I don't even consider that fasting. But I never fast for like days at a time anymore. Nope, because I can do it. It's really hard for me to do. Going towards it, I'm dreading it. I do it. It's really hard. And then afterwards, I'm obsessed with food and I'm overeating. It's hard not to overeat. So what am I going to do? You know what I mean? It's like when I frame it that way, it seems silly to do. And so I don't do it anymore because it throws everything all off for me. So I'm on the same boat with you. If that's what you're talking about with fasting, that, yeah, it can have a lot of residual effects. I'm like that, to be honest. I'm like that with working out. When people come to me in the program and they talk about, oh, I want to work out to lose weight, I'm like, can you give the working out a break? I mean, go for walks and do light stuff. But if you're going to start doing real active shit, I say no, because there's a licensing effect that when we do something good, we tend to do something bad afterwards for a number of reasons. But the other one is that when you start exercising a lot, you get really hungry, And so I would rather, in my program, I really, encourage people to really focus on the eating part of it. Because if you can master the eating part, listen, you can exercise too when you want to, but if you can really master the eating part, you're going to be able to master your weight forever. It really sets you up for long-term success. Definitely. I mean, I 100% know what to do, but no idea how to do it. Been trying for years. Yeah. That's the conversation I always have. That's literally what my program is how do you get yourself to do the things you should, and what you've been doing, what all you've been doing, because you're all smart. I know this, or else you wouldn't be watching me. And I only say that not because I'm smart, but because I just attract people that think a lot. They think a lot, and what happens is you're thinking a lot and you're thinking about it all the time. But what you're technically thinking about is you're thinking about why you don't do what you should. This is the conversation I have 90% of the time with my clients. It's over and over. And it's so tricky because you're used to figuring things out and you're a smart person. You can solve things. You do it in all other areas of your life. But when it comes to your weight and your eating, you don't understand it, right? Because you think about it all the time. You can't change it. And I know exactly what you're doing. You're thinking about the problem constantly. And let me put it this way. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand negatives. So if I tell you, don't think about, get ready to not think about what I'm about to tell you. Okay. Don't think about a white bear. Don't think about a white bear. Don't think about a white bear, right? So what are you thinking about? You think about a white bear. Why? Because subconsciously you hear the word white bear and you have to make sense of what I'm saying. So your visual cortex lights up the image of a white bear. And then you consciously go to work and try not to think about it. So when you're thinking about, why do I keep binging? You're imagining yourself binging. And you're doing this all day long while you're trying to figure it out. So my program would say, okay, what would it be like if you ate just the right amount of food? Do not compute. You can see the steam, the smoke coming out of people's ears. They're like, what, huh? Yeah, that's the problem. You don't have the neural connections in your brain to that are of you eating just the right amount, of you making right food choices, of doing the right stuff. You're never thinking about the solution because you're going to try and solve that problem. You're never going to fucking solve that problem thinking about that way. I guarantee you, you're going to keep getting it. But at least I can give you the explanation why. All right. Vicky says the ability is there. The strategy of how to do it is what you teach so well. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate that. Yeah, Vicky's like, she's a perfect example. She's in the program and she's, again, super smart, and so, thinking all the time, and now she's starting to think about the things she wants to do. And, it's crazy how fast changes can happen when you start doing that. That's the amazing part, because it's like you've got this supercomputer, but you're running shitty programs. You're running programs about, again, you think you're getting to a better place. You think by thinking about what the problem is, why you keep doing it, that you're going to have this cognitive breakthrough is going to just stop it. And it's not. It's not. You have to practice being the person you want to be. It's not a logical thing. It's a practice. Let me put it this way. So like information wise, everything you need to know about how to write with your hand, right? You can write with your hand. You know everything there is to know how to write letters and write words and write letters. Okay. But you can't do it with the other hand. You see? So you got to get out of your mind that information is behavior, because it's not. Knowing what to do and being able to do it are two completely different things. And you don't realize that. And so you're in your head trying to think about why am I, why? Even if I gave you the answer why, it would make no difference in your behavior, So you got to let that go and start focusing on, let me practice being the person I want to be. It's like developing a skill. It's like playing the piano. It's like drawing. It's like writing. It's like playing an instrument, learning a language, learning to dance. Anything that you've actually learned to do with your body that you can do, tying your shoes. It's not about, you could read 100 books on playing piano. You could read 10 books on how to tie your shoes. Until you actually start doing something with your body and doing it, you're not learning it. And this is what you're doing in your head, trying to figure everything out. And that's why you're stuck, I actually love that you laughed about it. It amused me, my depressed self. Oh, good. I'm glad. Let me see here. I definitely think a lot. Yeah. Everyone on here, I know you all think a lot. I know it because that's what I attract. I'm not saying I don't know how smart you are. I'm certainly not the smartest person on the block, but I think a lot. Oh boy, I think a lot. And this same overactive, overthinking brain is the same one that 30 years ago I was 54 pounds heavier than I am now. I was binge drinking. I was depressed. I was completely lost. I was lost. Stuck, lost, just didn't know what to do. Same brain, same me. So what's different? How am I 30 years later, the exact same weight, goal weight, never dieting? How am I doing it? Feeling happy, living my life, loving things, loving every day. What's different? Same brain, same genetics. What's the difference? Different subconscious programming. I learned how to change my subconscious mind, how to use it to get what I want. I'm still always working at it too. So again, that's the key thing. It's not law of attraction. That shit ain't enough. Someone asked that yesterday. I have another TikTok channel, by the way, if you want to follow that. It's more just hypnosis stuff, but that's Jim Katsoulis. So you can go follow that if you like. But someone wrote to me, I did a wealth, a money magnet hypnosis session. Someone wrote to me and said, do you use hypnosis to make large sums of money? And I said, well, not in the way you're thinking. I'm not just using hypnosis to make money just magically appear. And you can't just use hypnosis to make yourself magically thin. Now there's a time and a place to imagine the goal that you want, connect to, and feel motivated from it. That we use that in the program. That's part of it, but it's a small part. The bigger part is using hypnosis. This is what I wrote to the person. I said, I use hypnosis to get myself to do the things that bring large sums of money to me in my life. You got to understand the distinction. I'm not using hypnosis just to magically make myself thin. I'm using hypnosis to get myself to consistently do the things that make me thin. I hope that makes sense. That's where the law of attraction leaves out. You can't just imagine. We just imagine you're a fucking piano player and then you're going to boop, 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 boop. Oh, look at this. That's never happened on the face of the planet. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's magical thinking. We want to believe it, but it ain't going to work. You're not going to do it with hypnosis. You're not going to do it with law of attraction. You're not going to do it with tapping. You're not going to do it with probably Neville Goddard. I don't know enough of his stuff. So I don't mean it, but if the approach is just imagine, just be it. Well, kind of technically that's a small part of it, but what's way more important is doing the shit day to day to get you the results you want. That's the way bigger part. No one really talks about that, you know? And so that's what we work on in the program is literally like, but again, you like customize it to yourself. You need to come up with your own plan. As just someone said, it's kind of like, I saw Vicky. Vicky said we moved from the banana. I did that for you, Vicky. I was about to say banana, and I did that because I knew you were here, and I was joking with you. Um, but anyways, yeah, folks, we got it. We got to move away from just magical thinking and get in the nuts and bolts. How do I become a thin person? How do I get myself to consistently do the things that I want to do or that I need to do to become the person I want to be? And how can I do this in the most enjoyable way possible? You know, she said one banana. That's funny. The writing with the other hand metaphor is excellent. Thank you. I love that one. That's a great one. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I've come up with a few gems over my career. That's one of them though, because it proves the point though. That's what I'm trying to say is that we're always chasing information. And listen, part of it's the education system, you know, where it's always we kind of in a sense technically we kind of stopped learning around like third grade, you know, because that's like when we stopped learning actual things like writing, you know, reading, you know, tying our shoes, like all these like kind of life skills. And then we went into theory mode, you know, we just started learning like we just learned theories and we stopped learning stuff. That's why I tell you, like for me, my hobbies are a huge part of my whole process. Like I do yoga all the time. You know, I play guitar, learning to type. Like I love learning actual things and like juggling. I like doing all these things because they're real learning skills. And I think a lot of times we make the mistake, oh, I understand how to do that because that's how they get you with the diets. They're always trying to get you with the concepts. It's real simple concepts. Oh, just give up carbs. Just, oh, you want to lose weight? Just stop eating carbs. You know, and it seems like the fucking simplest thing in the world until you go and try and do it. And then it's like, oh shit, everything I eat is a carb. So it's like, well, what do I eat? What am I going to do? And you freak out. And you're like, oh my God, it sounds so simple though. Just stop eating carbs. Hey, just stop eating for 16 hours a day. Just stop doing it. You know, it's like, you know what it is? I always say this. It's like the just say no. Remember with Nancy Reagan in the 80s there? Hey, drugs, just say no to them. You know, it's like, what? How could it be anything easier? You know, oh, you're a drug addict. Listen, just you didn't know about this strategy. I'm going to change your life. Just say no to them. You know, and that's what they're doing with the dieting, though, isn't it? Isn't every diet that? It's like, oh no, here's your plan. Just stop eating. Just eat this way now. Oh, if it was only that simple. The weird part is, again, I don't blame anyone because we're literally hypnotized. In your life and my life, we've seen millions of diet ads, you know, and they're all conditioning us how to think about weight loss. Most people can't separate weight loss from dieting. You know, that's one of the core problems. You ask 1,000 people in America how to lose weight. You're going to hear diet, surgery, medicine, pills. You know, that's what you're going to hear. You're not going to hear mindset. So, you know, again, it's easier than you think, but it's like you have to wake yourself up out of the trance. I always say this one, you know, I always thought I was going to hypnotize people to lose weight, but it's not that. It's hypnotizing you to wake the fuck up out of your trance. You're in a diet trance, you know, and you need to see this whole process differently if you have any chance of ever getting any real results, you know. Anne-Marie says you're fun and a joy to watch. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you say that. He's right. Using hypnosis to make yourself do things consistently makes perfect sense. Yeah, of course, right? Again, it's all about practicality. I could sit here and tell you theories. I could make a diet program up, no problem, and sell that. Millionaire, you know. But it wouldn't work because the problem, knowing everything you know about nutrition right now, you could lose weight. Okay. If you just, like, I always use a metaphor. If you were like a robot, you just typed in what you're going to eat all day and then you would just do it, like you'd have no problem losing weight. The problem is you get an idea what you're going to eat all day and then it gets time to do it. And you're like, oh, what about the sugar? Oh, what about bread? What about some chips? You know, and then you can't control it. Then you go and eat that stuff. So you have no ability to change how you think, feel, or behave. And that's how it works in reverse, though. Your body is dictated by your behaviors. Your behaviors are dictated by how you feel and how you think. And you have no idea how to change how you think or feel. So that means you have no idea how to change your behaviors because your idea of changing behaviors is using willpower to try and force yourself to act a certain way. And it's not going to work. Your willpower is a prefrontal cortex process. Your prefrontal cortex anatomically is 10% of your brain. The rest of your brain, subconscious, is 90% of your brain. And this is why you can do a diet for a couple days or weeks. Some people I've done a diet for a year and then they make a mistake and they're right back to where they were. Nothing changed. Yeah, because you never changed in your subconscious programming. You just forced yourself to act a different way for a little while, you know? So yeah, the hypnosis is the important thing. Thank you. He's more than ready. He's happy. I appreciate you saying that too. I really am. It's that's what I'm trying to say. I always say, like, I use the word thin, and some people are triggered by that, but I'm taking the word back. I'm tired of thin being like some bad thing where it's like really, people with eating disorders. Yeah, obviously eating disorder people are thin, and that's their whole thing. But I'm taking thin back to mean you living at your goal weight, and your goal weight's up to you. Whatever you want to weigh, it's up to you and you alone. And so how do you decide which weight though? That's where people get lost. I suggest you choose the weight that gives you the best quality of life, the weight that makes you the happiest and the healthiest. And in order to do that, you can't just pick a goal weight. That's what the big mistake a lot of people make is they arbitrarily just pick some number. You know what I hear the most? Because I always say, what's your goal weight? And they tell me the number. And I say, well, why are you picking that? And you know what I always hear? The number one answer by far, that's what I weighed when I was under 25, always. That's what I weighed when I was 20. The craziest one I got, the record right now, and this was the record I had was 15, but the record that beat it was when I was 12. That's what I weighed when I was 12. I was in 7th grade. Now she said out loud, she go, holy shit, what am I doing here? You could see it dawning on her. But a lot of people are picking a weight as if that weight lives in a vacuum, and it doesn't. You have to live a certain way and eat a certain way in order to achieve that weight, and people don't take that into account. So if the weight you're picking, you have to drink water and eat carrots in order to achieve it, that's a shitty quality of life, and you're not going to do it. And that's where a lot of people are at. They're picking a weight that's they're going to have to live a lifestyle they don't want to live. They're not willing to live it. And so they're stuck in this constant thing where they're trying to get down to a weight. They don't even want to live at that weight. They want to be that weight for some reason, but they don't want to live at that weight. They don't want to live the lifestyle. So for me, it's like you have to balance those two out to the point, like for me. So everything's based around my quality of life. It's not based around the weight primarily. And so, 10 years ago, so 30 years, I've maintained the exact weight until 12 years ago. I had my son, we moved and we're redoing the house. I was running a business, all this stuff. It's a tough time of life. And I was super tired. And so my weight went up. That was the one kind of blip. And, I got it back down. But what I did is I raised my goal weight by 10 pounds because the under 10 pounds where I was at, it was just harder at that time to live that cleanly. So I raised my goal weight. Oh my God, imagine that, because I take my goal weight and it's relative to my quality of life. And in different circumstances are going to affect that. So anyways, yeah, being happy is the key thing, so I appreciate you saying that. Jim's favorite example to explain the mind doesn't understand negatives is the banana. Yes. Don't think of a banana. Yes. So I did that for you, Vicky. Or actually, this kind of makes me think about the Alan Carr method to stop smoking. Yes. Yeah. Alan Carr. I love that guy. Yeah. He has a weight loss book too. Again, I like it a lot, but I think weight loss is different than smoking. So the thing with weight loss is there's no one tactic, and that's something I learned. I've had programs out, and I realized it's not just one thing you can do because this is like everyone underestimates the weight loss, minimize it. And there's a reason for that. The diets want to just make it seem like it's one simple shift you have to make. Listen, your weight loss and changing your weight is probably one of the most comprehensive things you could take on in life, to be honest. Because you're eating 3 to 8 times a day, every single day of your life. That's all you're eating is relative to your subconscious programming, that you already have. The way that you habitually think, feel, and behave is all hardwired into you at this point. And you're changing all this stuff. So it's a comprehensive thing. And, that's why I love Alan Carr, and I love his smoking thing. It's brilliant. And some of the things he does for the weight, he wrote a book for weight, right? Easy way to lose weight. Are great. They're great tactics to use, but it's not enough. It's been my experience. And so in mine, again, there's the tactics you learn, there's the support from the hypnosis, and there's these blueprints where you create your own customized weight mastery blueprints based on you, because you're a one-of-a-kind person with a one-of-a-kind lifestyle and, situation. And so you've got to tailor it to you. That's the key thing. So what do? You have to be a little more specific than that. I tried to stop smoking a million times and never managed, but when I went through that method, it worked. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So again, I love that. I love that. He's that has such a great smoking thing. And it's worked for so many people. I love it. And I love some of the things in there that he teaches. I love the little monster stuff, and it's so good. So, yeah, he's got a book on weight. So, check that out too. Yeah, that might help you out as well. How can I know if my mindset has changed versus just forcing myself to eat and live a certain way? Yeah, that's a great question, and a great answer coming your way is that it'll feel congruent, So that's such a good answer. I would say it feels to me like I know what it's like to force myself. I never force myself to do anything. If I don't really want to do it, I won't try and get myself to do it. Examples, coffee. I kind of go through different things with coffee. I shouldn't do it. I should stop it. And when I get to that mode, I never say I'm going to stop drinking coffee. I say to myself, do I want to stop drinking coffee? And if I don't, then I don't try and stop drinking coffee. I hope that makes sense, because for most people, there's a conscious, subconscious incongruency to the point, I'm going to just be blunt about this. You don't even want to lose weight. If you've been overweight for a long time, it's because subconsciously you weigh what you want subconsciously. And for women, a lot of times women carry extra weight because they use it as a protection against men, And so that's just one example of many. For subconscious reasons, you want to be overweight. And so for most of you, you don't even want to lose weight, just to be completely honest. You wish you'd lose weight. You wish you'd wake up tomorrow, just start eating better and lose weight, but you don't actually want to do it, And so that's the first thing you got to do, is learn how to motivate yourself and truly be motivated to want to do it. So how do you know if your mindset shifts versus just forcing yourself? Well, when you're forcing yourself, you can feel that you're forcing yourself. You feel like you're fighting against yourself. And for me, I don't feel that at all. I definitely feel like sometimes I use the word discipline. So it definitely feels like discipline for me sometimes. I eat salads every day during the week, for lunch. And there's sometimes I'm like, Christ, another salad. And it's like, I may not want to do it, but it's the discipline of it. And so it's like, and so I'll say to myself, I don't feel like eating it. And then I'll come in and say, I know you don't feel like it, but let's do it, because you're going to feel better after you do it. And tonight when you think about it, you're gonna be happy that you did it. At the end of the week, when you finished them off every day, you feel happy with yourself and you're good. And so you know what I mean? Like that's the mindset shift, and it feels different. So okay, so let me put it in words you definitely will understand, or a situation is brushing your teeth, right? So brushing your teeth, sometimes you're really tired, you don't feel like doing it, now you just want to go to bed, but you just do it, right? Because your mindset's straight, it's congruent with that behavior. And so you do it. And so you compare that against trying to eat better, and it feels like you're fighting against yourself. And you are fighting against yourself, most of you, when trying to lose weight, because you got your subconscious program that does what it does, and then you're consciously trying to stop that. And that's most people's weight loss experience, you see? So that's forcing yourself. It's not going to last. And then there's kind of the discipline sometimes you need. But most of the time, I'm just flowing on autopilot. I want to be clear about that. But there's definitely times when, I'm using discipline, I would say. The Alan Carr method to quit smoking felt kind of like reprogrammed, but not subconscious. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's totally in the ballpark of what we do in the program. No doubt about it. There's just a lot more support. I don't think Alan Carr, like reading his easy way to lose weight, I think it's a good, it's part of the process, but you need a lot more. You just do. You need consistent reinforcement, because cigarettes, you can stop smoking when you're done with them. It's an all or nothing thing. With food, it's not. It's a managed addiction, and so you have to have, it's a much different process in that way. It's very unique. There's very few things that are like managing your weight, because all drugs and like bad habits and addictions, most of them are all or nothing, kind of cold turkeys. With the food, it's a different thing. You got to manage, you got to know how to get back on track. That's the number one skill you got to learn, is how to get back on track. And I don't know if he talks about that. I forget if he does, but in my program, that's the number one thing we work on. That's the redo technique that you do at night. That's the most important technique of the entire program, because you're going to fuck up all the time. You got to realize that. You keep thinking you're going to be perfect. You're going to be some perfect person. You're not. You're going to mess up, and you need some strategy, some process that you can rely on, where you can come back and learn from the mistakes and grow from them. That's the most important thing that's going to help you master your weight, more important than anything else. You always pop on my For You page. I hope that's good. Yeah, Alan Carr and cigarettes worked 100% for me, but not the food, unfortunately. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, so don't feel bad about that. You know what I mean? Try Eutaptics Faster EFT. I haven't heard of that. I'll check it out. Me using weight as protection against men would make so much sense. To be fair, my subconscious makes me protect myself from them all the time, even when I don't want to. Yeah, that's what I mean. Also, in general, I'm scared of change. So maybe the fact that I've always been defined as the fat one makes me want to try and stay the way, because it's based on my identity, like who I am. If I'm, well, there you go. You should get in the program, because you're very intuitive, and yeah, you've just nailed it. Everything you said is exactly it. The reason our weight is all controlled subconsciously. You're literally creating the weight that you're at, and your self-image is probably the most important. I always say, like, like they talk about like the weight set point sometimes. Is there a weight set point? Oh, yeah, there's a weight set point, but it's psychological. It's your self-image. It's your identity, how you think about yourself. And if you've been the fat one for 30 years, you don't like it, but you're comfortable and familiar with it. You know that role. And so, yeah, all of a sudden becoming the thin one is weird. And it just is. So we always say, oh, I'm gonna lose weight, it's gonna be great. Well, it is great, but everything's good and bad. There's good and bad with it. It's different and weird. And your brain, your subconscious mind doesn't like weird. Your subconscious mind's a status quo machine, because your brain's a prediction machine. And the more status quo everything is, the more predictions accurately can make. And so all of a sudden we change things off, like our identity. There's a lot of subconscious stuff that doesn't want to do that, so you got to deal with that stuff. But you've hit the nail on the head. Again, if you're in the position to do it, you should absolutely join the program, because you're thinking on that level. And so, you just learn how to manage that level. Thank you. That answer really clarifies forcing versus mindset. I'm really glad, because that's a huge factor. Once you realize, I never force myself. I'm not gonna say I never, but I almost never force myself. If I don't want to create the change, then I'm not going to do it. I'll spend more time getting congruent, with why I want to make the change. And then, then I go to work on implementing it using discipline, but I'm never forcing myself, because why would I do that? You know what I mean? If I don't want to do it. And a lot of people do this with weight. Oh, I have to lose weight. I need to lose weight. I should lose weight. Those all imply that you're being forced to do it, that you don't want to, so your language really reveals your motivations and your programming. I'm definitely getting the program. I love being here and just asked for the training material. I'll look into it after you're live. Yeah. Again, either write to me or go, and this goes right. I got to get out of here. We're about to do a coaching call. So again, start it this week. This week's a good one. I'm telling you, starting like this, because I've just added, I've just tweaked the program. I got a new training coming out for part of it that's really good. I'm excited. And there's like a new part of the app that's going to be coming out supporting that. And then it's always a good time. You want to look for kind of, I don't want to say coincidences. I don't know what the word is. Synchronicities, I guess, culturally and time-wise. And so one of them, obviously January 1st is always a good one, but this one's a good one. This week is May 1st, starts on Monday. And so that's a great time, because again, it's springtime. There's a new sense of renewal. It's a new month. You know what I mean? So it is nice to, that's not going to call it a change, but we don't use everything at our disposal. So anyways, yeah, anyone here, go to my bio, click that link and get your hypnosis session, and use it. And then after you get that, there's a training that you're brought right to a page. Watch this. It's 3 steps to master your weight. I'll bring you through that, and you should watch it about a half hour. And then at the end of that, I tell you about my program and I give you a special offer on it. Okay. So you don't have to pay the full price if you take action, because you're here watching me. So you're taking action. If you watch that training, you take action, you get 50% off. Okay. So it's a great deal, but do it. It's really good. I'm reading Atomic Habits by James Clear. Yeah. That's a great book. I like that book a lot. Yeah. Synchronicities. Yeah. And here you are. Right. So all of a sudden you have support and training and, a real plan to actually master your weight instead of just winging it. All right, everyone, I got to get out of here. If you want to find more, you can click that link in my bio or the description. Go get your hypnosis session, experience what hypnosis feels like and how it helps. Then watch that training. Okay. That training is really important. It'll change the way you approach weight loss forever and get you on the right path. And then if you want to keep going forward, again, I'll talk about my program in that at the end of that training, and you get a special offer for it. You can check out my YouTube channel. It's Jim Katsoulis. I actually have another TikTok channel. It's Jim Katsoulis now. It's all hypnosis stuff. And the podcast, Program Yourself Thin. It's on all the major platforms there. So go listen to it and give me some stars, right? Give me the 5-star reviews. All right, everyone, have a great day. We'll talk soon. Bye.